Are we already rolling? Okay, we're live. Hello, everybody. Let's roll to see what happened last time on Weird and Wild. Uh-oh, Glacé.
Oh,
Me and
You,
Aesop are right around where we normally are.
you
how does it go
may,
straight to a 1 from a 20?
you may be fucked. Oh, and V, look at that.
That's
Man, how
that is
long? Shit.
that is unfortunate.
It's just dice rust.
Alright.
Yeah, dice rest.
um, last time on Weird and Wild, we ended up on this giant Quaggoth ship. And we met with, what's his name? Elric? Alec? Ian?
Alec.
He was Alec.
Expeditioneer Alec.
Yeah, it was a beautiful elf man who's in
Mhm.
charge of the place. He opened up the services of the patrollers to us wherever we go. He asked us what we thought about the Witchlight Marauders and what we think we should do with them. I think we got some helper hand people. We got some sweet tats.
Yeah, you guys were in the midst of getting your tattoos. I think Glacé, yours was going to take probably like a day or so. Sun
Yeah,
Kong's,
I
on the other hand, it's going to take a couple days.
Sun Kong got a tattoo of like a bowl of rice on his back or something. I don't know. I really
That's about right.
don't remember if there was anything else that happened. I remember getting my tattoo and that's it.
There was the small matter of what to do with the Witchlight Marauders that exists out there in the Twixt.
Do we have time to ask more questions about that?
I mean, I don't know. Sun Kong has just now gotten a couple more grains of rice for his rice bowl. He has probably 3 or 4 more days to go.
Okay.
You guys met with Expeditioneer Alec, who was seemingly surprised that you guys were able to take down a Witchlight Marauder. On top of that, he mentioned and talked about the Witchlights that the first series was essentially taken out and was replaced by this series 2, which only consists of one Marauder. But everyone is still between the factions, the consortium of the Twix universe, deciding what exactly to do going forward with them. Seeing that you guys are an influential group of Wild Knots, as well as seeing the just a live play out of you guys taking down a Tarrasque, decided that your input may be very helpful with the sort of like upcoming decision that they're going to have to eventually make, which is not soon, but eventually. So as you guys did all that, you were given free reign, room and board. You guys know that it seems as though, although you haven't specifically asked, it seems as though the Quagga is probably going to be staying in this area for a little bit. You guys know, as you came from the Star Whale, which had the Star Blazers, the other Wild Knot group, that more than likely they're going to need a couple repairs to their ship anyway. And you guys were given free room and board, access to the tattoo parlor to get some tattoos. Glacé, yours would take about a day. Sun Kong's, yours is going to take, we'll say, like 3 more days.
Yep.
It's sort of this area here isn't exactly completely well lit, especially from the debris of the Tarrasque, as it had its bottom half cause quite a wreckage through what was left of the ruins of what seemed like some type of Elvish Armada base, which is sort of what the Pioneer Patrollers are an offshoot of. The Elvish Armada is a very large faction that spans multiple spheres, and they are similar to Luke's Iron Gate group these guys are sort of the police of space, largely run by elves. But in this universe, there is an offshoot, and that's what created the Patrollers, who are a little more interested in pioneering across the Twixt and discovering these new worlds, because the Twixt kind of sucks things into it. So there's always something new to be explored and threats to be assessed, and that's essentially what they do. You guys were given free reign to go wherever you'd like. So yeah, you guys were currently getting your tattoos done. Before we jump in though, let's go around and do introductions. I am Jason, or Jaso, the DM. Who else is playing with me today?
Go in order of the tokens.
Yeah, there you go.
I am Glacé Allure, Eidolon, entertainer. I am a bard, College of Glamour.
Played by Bailey.
Nice.
Nice.
Oh, it's different order on mine. Hi, everybody. I'm Nick. I play in VD, the Celestial Half-Elf Warlock, and I have a familiar named Jira, who is a good little dragon boy.
He's adorable.
Hi, I'm Slim. Yeah,
I couldn't remember your name.
and I'm about 15 ounces into that beer. Doing good. And I play Rinkaz, a fighter, lizard folk, gunslinger, friend, and gentleman scholar, but not as good as my next friend.
Who
The
is?
monkey.
Alright, my name is Kevin. I play Sun Kong, your monk, Way of the Abundant Spirit, slash, Bionoid. That's it. Bionoid.
You are that thing.
Oh, is that all? You done?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm Luke. I am playing Aesop, Kinku, Blood Hunter, Order of the Lycan, and his alter ego, Subject 22.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you, guys. Glacé, you happen to find a weird bit in your pocket. How strange.
Oh, here you go, Aesop.
Thank you for doing the recap. Let's see here. Everyone seems to have their inspiration cards, so that's good.
I keep forgetting what mine is. I never use them. Terrible.
Yeah, remember, you guys get one a session, so even if there's not any particular combat-oriented things happening, you could always, if you're looking at the clock and there's an hour left, you may as well, even conversation, try to convince her something, and hey, get
That's
use
a good
out of it.
point.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, hang on, let's get some music rolling. So, I believe Sun Kong Glacé was probably getting her tattoo finished. Now, these elven tattoo artists are not going to be tattooing you for the full duration of what your tattoo requires. They're going to need to take breaks. So it's not like you're stuck in the tattoo parlor for the full 3 days, Sun Kong. Glacé, your tattoo is probably going to take a little bit while longer. The others, I believe, Envidi and Rinkaz, maybe Aesop, I'm a little unsure, went to go see the Helper's Hand and see just exactly who was available to potentially be hired. And that is when you guys came across a familiar face, Trig, that you guys had met on Relica before. You came across Roof, Gira, and Liu K. And then we were in the process of, we didn't really fully determine if you guys wanted to hire any of these hands, but we can kind of go ahead and settle that now if you guys would like.
I think if we get anyone, we should get Trig, but I also think we might be okay on our own. It's up to the rest of you.
I open up my wallet and say, I'm saving for a tattoo, but I fully will eagerly pay for Oof to come with us. I mean, I feel that I could find some great insight into a bit more of my background.
You hear Glacé over the headset.
I don't care.
We're adopting all of them. I correct them all.
I'm good with that. So
Either way.
I say Driggin Roof.
okay, so there you go. That's out of your pocket.
Well,
But
I
I
can
think the other-
I can help pay for one if you need me to.
So Roof is 10 GP a day. Trig, while having some pretty great abilities, more specifically probably for Ringkaz, is a little bit more expensive, 14 GP a day.
Ooh.
But as long as you can shell out, it seems like they'll hang out with you. So are these the two that you'd like to hire?
Yes.
Alright. Gira and Lou both bid you farewell and head back behind the curtain, awaiting another group of Wildknots to potentially hire them. Now, Roof is going to join you guys as well as Trig. Is there any particular person, either Sun Kong, so as you guys know, to get their full abilities, you have to junction. You have to join sort of with them. Aesop, you already having Inoki along with you. Glacé, as usual, having Clatter with her animated armor bodyguard. That leaves Roof and Trig to follow someone. It looks as though, in VD, you have your familiar, in Sun Kong, you have Ukog, who's kind of currently in the quarters that the patrollers set up for you guys, resting. Do any of you want to just have either Roof or Trig kind of just tag along with you?
I mean, yeah, if, I'll take one of them just so we have them with us,
Okay.
I guess.
Kicks wife to the curb.
We'll put her to the back so that her giant weapon doesn't cover Roof. Trig comes over and says, fancy meeting y'all again. What you up to?
Remember that place that we went to and we met out in the
Relic.
desert? Yeah, we're gonna go back out there and hunt for. I wink and say, things that are hidden in tombs.
Oh, nice. I like the sound of that. Hey, I heard y'all just took down a big old monster out there. Is that true?
Oh well, it was nothing really. That's a lie. It was absolutely horrifying. Yes, we did barely escape with our lives.
It stepped on him.
It stepped on me.
We happen to have a few souvenirs. You interested in any Tarrasque blood? We got some for sale.
Maybe not
Can-
blood, but you got any bones from the creature?
Actually, I do. I'm gonna bring a few with us, but if I could spare one, I'll let you know.
Well, you better make sure that you get that thing fully secured. Seems like the patrollers are going to be poking around for now. I just make sure that you can at least secure one or two of them.
Oh, of course.
Wise advice.
You guys see Roof relatively quiet, just making sure all of her gear and everything is equipped. The quiver and bow on her back fully strapped around and tightened. Ready when you are, she says, looking at you, Ringkaz.
Ready as ever. Pleasure to meet you, by the way.
She extends a very furry, long finger-clawed hand and shakes with a firm grip.
So on our travel, I was hoping to talk to you for a bit. I heard you worked with slave trade before.
Was a slave.
Oh, you were. Same here.
Used to be a human.
Oh, shit.
You used to be a human.
Is that so?
Aesop says, pushing everyone out of the way.
My friend would like to have a talk with you as well.
Yes.
interesting.
Not very
well-
keen to have someone who looks like Vodani traveling on this ship. However, I have made sure the patrollers know that I was a POW. They ran tests on me like others of their types, though their effects seem to have been permanent. However, I have been able to...
She sort of runs her snout up in the air, kind of like just kind of controlling herself in a way, just like measuring herself.
I can control my urges, by and large. I've helped the patrollers by providing them certain intel about the Vodani, and therefore they have made sure that I have free passage on room and board on the ship, and am able to make a living as a hand now.
Was this the Dark Trine that had you captured?
Yes, for some years.
And your current state, how was it? What's a sensitive way to say this? Administered. How did you transform from a human to what you are now?
The details are fuzzy. As prisoners, when they bring us in to run their experiments, they keep us heavily drugged. I've tried to forget whatever else I could remember. However, at least what I do remember had a lot to do with alchemy and other strange experiments that they were running.
Any form of blood work?
Yes. Lycanthropy, as you can imagine, is all about the blood.
So are you always like this, or do you revert back to a human, or is it permanent?
As far as I can tell, I've been this way for quite a while now. It is permanent.
Well, should we come across a cure for you, if you would want one, I'll be the first one to let you.
She sort of looks down, and you can make an insight check if you want.
Sure. $14 total.
Not bad.
You watch her as her eyes sort of dart down and look away for just a moment. You get the sense that she does consider it, but there's probably a certain amount of doubt in her eyes about that.
Well, I mean, it could be worse. You could shed your skin once every couple of months.
She begins to eye you up and down, Rinkaz.
I suppose so.
Yes, it could definitely be worse, but well, at any rate, it's
I'm not
You
complaining, by the way.
yes. You've already been a great amount of help, not for this immediate adventure that we're going on, but perhaps the next one. It seems our paths are destined to cross with the Dark Trine.
They look to one another, Roof and Trig.
How many days are you staying on this ship?
Only is Jason. Are we heading in the direction of our next destination on this ship?
You guys are unsure. It doesn't seem like the ship has moved.
Oh,
We
okay.
haven't chosen a place, have we?
Well, we've chosen where we're going next, right?
Relica was.
Relica, yeah. Well, I let her know that we're just getting some tattoos finished up, and we shouldn't be more than a couple of days on the ship. Is that accurate, everyone?
Sounds about right.
That's
yeah.
what I thought.
Sounds right.
Okay. Yes.
Trig kind of eyes you guys and says,
Well, we'll do you a favor. We'll start collecting pay when you're ready to head out. How about that?
Sounds like a plan.
Alright. Come catch us when you're ready to roll. That way you're not having to pay.
Of course. Of course.
Can I tip them each 1 gold for being honest and not swindling us out of a day?
sure, yeah. They gladly take it.
And Vidi is so wholesome.
He
He's a
is
wholesome boy.
boy.
Yeah.
And so you guys know, since you helped Trig out before and seemed pretty honest with Roof, they make sure to have you only start paying when you guys are ready to head out yourselves, so as not to
This
just
is-
pay them to sit around here where they're already getting kind of free room and board themselves.
This is somewhat disturbing information. I feel like I owe all of you an explanation when we're next together. Because I think Glosse's not here, right? Glosse
Ye-
and Sun Kong aren't here.
Yeah. Obviously, they hear you over your
Stones of
earrings
Frost
of
Beach.
communication.
Yeah.
But yes, they're not in the immediate vicinity.
Mhm.
That's a good kind of hurt.
So what are we gonna? Are you guys? Do you guys have anything else to do, or are we gonna?
So let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. Aesop already modified his sword into a gladius, so that's like the only thing I really wanted to do here. So I'm good. I'm good to fast forward. Yeah.
Sun Kong, as you are finishing up your tattoo work, the tattoo artist letting you know that he needs to take a break before continuing. And although it can be difficult to tell as a wild knot, someone who travels through wild space, when night and day, pray tell, are, you guys kind of have to run off of your own internal clocks. He does let you know that it's getting late, and that if you would like, you guys should rest and probably travel out. Well, not travel out in the morning because he still has more work to do. But you guys can go ahead and rest up, and he'll start continuing his tattoo work in the morning whenever you step back in, Sun Kong.
Cool.
As you are sort of getting up from the kind of nice seat or the chair that lays back so that he can do his old-fashioned sort of like stippling work, you see what looks to be a elvish patroller stepping in and heading your way. Kong, Sun Kong, is that you? He addresses you.
Yeah, that's me.
Part of the Wild Tycoons, correct?
That's us.
Die.
Was hoping to speak with you if the possibility arose and you had the free time at some point. It doesn't need to be now.
Just me?
You specifically, as we saw you seemingly commandeer that weapon down below on the surface.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Maybe
I
later
was
tonight sometime or tomorrow. I've nothing really going on except this tattoo.
sent here specifically by request of a man named Tyrion. He and the other crew of the Star Blazers are here on board, spending a little time, a little R&R while their ship is repaired. He mentioned that the weapon below could serve as some use, as well as whatever other pieces of information or weaponry we could potentially find here in the derelict of what exists of the ruins of this base. We intend to send a few search parties down, but I have some specific questions about the Spirit Warrior.
I mean, I don't know too much, but yeah, I guess I'll talk with you guys.
Very well. He essentially tells you where to find him. He's going to be doing... he mentions that his name is Athtar, and that he is going to be doing some logistics with some of the other elvish men, sort of planning out some surveys to go down planet side and check out the surface and see what they can find in terms of any other interesting or useful things that was left over from what is left of the ruins of the Eos ruins here, which is this elvish armada base. And with that, he takes his leave. Okay. So with that, Sun Kong, as well as you, Glace, if you guys want to rest for the night, you're welcome to.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Tired.
I also, once I get with everybody, I think we should regarding the whole Witchlight Marauder thing. I think we should call our reps and see what they know about it and what they think before we make any decisions.
Reps, who do you mean?
You know, like our like Lushy and the old 22, 23, 22, and the other the Cyrodiil one.
Yes, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I don't trust any of the consortium to make the right decision with these things.
Right, but I think we should still hear them out.
I suppose.
And
I guess it's no secret that we're looking into it.
Can't really hurt. They're not gonna be able to stop us. Whatever we decide.
Ooh,
Oh.
careful now.
And what are they gonna do? Send a spacecraft destroying monster to kill all of your friends? Oh
Yes.
wait.
Yes, they will.
Oh boy.
Well, I don't know if they will. That it's a likely scenario, but I'm just saying that the consortium, they're a very large group of organizations. They all have their best interest and bottom line in mind, and that's kind of scary when you combine it with a giant planet-eating monster.
Absolutely.
Their best interest, not ours, of course.
Yes. I mean, if you all feel like you trust these individuals, then by all means contact them, but I mean...
I don't trust them. I just want to hear what they say. I think it should be destroyed right now, but we don't know. We don't know a lot of stuff.
That's true. Perhaps they would be able to give us some perspective on the matter. Although, my one concern is it is tipping our hand a little bit. It's possible that some of them don't even know that we're looking into it. I mean, obviously, we know that the patrollers know because they're the ones that asked us to look into it.
Well, then let's just ask the patrollers who knows and who we can talk to in the other groups.
I suppose so. It's fine.
Doesn't take you guys long from the instructions that you are given to find your rooms. They're not the most luxurious of rooms, and they're slightly smaller than you'd like, but they're all relatively comfortable enough. Sort of like standard military fare. They're not made to be extremely comfortable, yet at the same time they're serviceable, and you guys are able to all find yourselves able to relax in each of the quarters. And if any of you, there are the occasional patroller, elvish or gif sentry that passes by, as well as others just sort of marching in order. But in general, they leave you alone, by and large. So you guys are able to mingle in your own rooms if you'd like. You can all meet in one room if you'd like. You do know that after the conversation with Alec that he is essentially, since your previous your liaison to each of the factions, you guys obviously have one, as Glace was mentioning. You guys previously had a GIF who met an unfortunate end on a whale ship, and thus Alec is stepping in as your new representative for the patrollers. So whenever he is in his office, you guys are more than welcome to go and speak to him, as he mentioned. So he basically would have mentioned that he is able to put aside time to help answer whatever questions you may have. But, obviously seem busy in the meantime. Sun Kong, as you come into your room, you see Ukog kind of resting and pretty sound asleep.
Do you want to have that discussion, Aesop?
Yes, if we're all available. Okay, so everyone, I apologize if I have appeared somewhat paranoid sometimes. This thing on Scourge that we're going to, and all of this business with the Dark Trine, and now Ruff also. Is it Ruff or Roof, Rinkaz? How do you pronounce her name? Great, very, very classy. Listen,
I think it depends on your dialect, honestly.
What he said. It's
so,
rough to say.
Oh, geez.
Oh.
Oh god, do I have to be here for this? Inoki says.
No, Inoki, you can watch our room if you like.
Alright.
All right, here. I'm just going to come out with it then. So, Subject 22. Well, as numbers would dictate, there were 21 attempts by my wife and I to perfect a serum before 22. And 21, we were close. We were certain we were on the verge of a breakthrough, and that's until one day I came to the lab and it was burning.
Oh.
My wife was inside the lab, and from what I can tell, she was murdered and our research was stolen. Until this whole Dark Trine thing, I had no clue who could have done such a horrible thing. I searched, and I had hoped to team up with the Masterminds to hopefully find some similar research, some sort of clue as to who could have stolen our work and killed Hush's mother, but I never found any sort of lead until the Dark Trine. I feel like with this word of Subject 21 on Scourge, I fear that the breadcrumbs are leading there, and I need to know for the sake of Hush's mother, or my wife.
So now I have another reason to shoot these people. Alright, good. Get clear conscience.
But
So sorry to hear that.
yes, but listen, if we do encounter this so-called Subject 21, I want it taken alive. I need to see the results of our research. I need to know. We were so close, you see.
So there's a big chance that Subject 21 is like like Subject 22.
It is highly possible. The serum was only intended to work on Kinku, but if the Dark Trine has found a way to isolate the lycanthropy vector from it, I mean, well, just look at Ruff. She was a human. It's very worrying, is what I'm saying, but should we come across another subject from my research, I would very much appreciate a non-lethal response.
And this
Of course, we'll try. Yeah, of course.
we'll be looking for Kinku as well, right?
It's possible. I mean, Subject 21, the implication, of course, would be that it is another subject in the line of my wife and I's serum, but after seeing Ruff, I'm not so sure.
Oh.
But it's a safe assumption. Anyway, of course, Relica is our first stop, but I'm just seeing more and more reasons to hurry right to Scourge after that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Should we, well, how, I mean, depending on if it's a big bird-like creature that wants blood, how should we, is there any special way of sedating it?
Yes, silver.
Oh, good to know.
Because of the lycanthropy vector and the serum, the transformation becomes vulnerable to silver.
Right,
I have,
silver, got it. I don't know what the rest of that was. Silver.
Yeah, hence that
Silver.
quarterstaff he gave me.
Yes, I let Sun Kong have a silver quarterstaff in case Subject 22 ever got out of control.
What does your daughter know about this to an extent? I don't want anything to slip.
Oh, right. Well, she knows her mother died in an accident. I never mentioned to her the details, but obviously she was privy to the fact that our research laboratory burnt down. She knows we were working on something, my wife and I, but she is not aware of the full extent of what we are trying to do, which is why I'd like to keep Subject 22 a secret from her as well.
Well, I won't say anything.
Yes, we had a close call on the ship the one time. Prefer to keep it at that, just a close call.
Of course, do our best.
Thank you. I know I've been occasionally difficult to work with, and I know I'm not just talking about Subject 22. I'm talking about regular old Aesop. But anyway, I should get going. It's been a long day on a strange ship.
I open up a flask and hand it to Aesop.
Aesop's hand wavers a little bit as he reaches out for the flask, takes a big swig, and hands it back.
I can't remember what's in here. It might be fuel. I drink some and put it away and say, but at least it'll make things a bit easier. And
Yes.
Whatever happens, we're in this together with you, Aesop.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Kind of looks away embarrassed. Let's go get some treasure, shall we?
Woo! Sounds
Yes,
fun.
sorry, I kind of brought down the mood a bit, didn't I?
Can't wait to get to that sandy planet again.
I wonder if I was a human once.
Oh,
I don't think you were, Rimkaz. I think you've always been a lizard folk.
Oh, okay. That's reassuring. Thank you.
So you guys rest? Take a long rest?
Yeah.
Rest.
Okay, you guys spend a little time and crawl into your particular bunks and take a long rest. You guys can boost up. Well, I don't think anyone has anything that they need to boost back up to 100, so
Yay, we're the best.
you guys should be good.
I just need to get rid of my exhaustion.
Me too.
Ah, that's good. So you guys had a full meal while meeting with Alec and essentially got to spend a bit of downtime getting your tattoos. So those of you with exhaustion can remove 1 point of that.
Oh yes, Sun Kong was like almost dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm only down to level 2 now. Well, 3, 2.
Jeez.
And
Wait,
sat in a tree, like a chair for like 4 days straight, didn't you?
Well, he's removed 1, so now no one will have to carry him back to the tattoo parlor.
I can move.
But there is
Wait,
still 3 days worth of tattooing.
Doesn't Invi디 know Greater Restoration now?
Yeah, I was
Oh.
gonna ask if I could try something. Not really sure about it, but if you're up for it, I'm pretty confident I got a new trick.
Please.
All right, just focus for a second, please. I want to lay a hand on his shoulder, and I will cast Greater Restoration.
Okay, what does that look like as you do it?
It is going to be kind of sparkly and kind of a dull glowing light, and then it kind of intensifies, and then it will all fade out at once.
And that removes exhaustion?
It will.
You can reduce the target's exhaustion level by 1.
Yes. Or one of the
Nice.
following, which charm, petrify, 1 curse, any reduction of target's ability score, or 1 effect reducing target hit point.
Sun Kong, as he places his hand on you, that just pure sense of fatigue that fills your body as you. I'm assuming this is done sort of early morning as you guys are just beginning to pull yourselves out of bed. You can feel your legs kick around, Sun Kong, and feel as though you're able to move around. NVD steps in and offers his service for you, and placing a hand, that sense of fatigue, although still there, amazingly is, you feel it almost pulled through, shooting through your chest up to your shoulder where NVD placed his hand, and almost pulled away. You still feel relatively weak and sore,
Yeah.
but it feels as though a little bit of that has been sapped away and that some of your strength is returning.
Correction. Now I'm at 3.
There you go.
Yay!
I was at 5.
How do you feel?
Oh, that really helps. Oh my goodness. Thank you. That I'm not full 100% yet, but that is a massive help. Whew.
I pat Song Kong on the shoulder. I mean, after being a giant 30-foot tall bug monster, I mean, my way of relaxing might be different, but sitting in a chair and being stabbed by a needle for 3 days straight isn't ideally relaxing, but you're a lot tougher than. I mean, whatever it takes to wind you down, buddy.
Oh, honey, it's actually not that bad. You start to think about all kinds of things while you're feeling this needle inside of you. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
What
It
happens?
actually is a little relaxing.
It goes into your skin, but what if you shed your skin? How does that work? Do
Oh,
I have
that-
to reapply?
No, it's the same deal for my feathers. You put them on the base layer of the dermis, and then any sort of external dermal tissue regrows over it. It's very simple.
Yeah, what he said.
I nod, slightly confused, and say,
Yeah,
"Now I
Colossus
get
is
why he's an
very
egghead."
Colors returning to your cheeks, Sun Kong. You hear from over at the other bed in your room, Ukog say,
Are we all in my room?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Oh, hi, yeah.
everyone did that thing where like one head pops up over the other, like peering around the corner into your room. You should keep getting your tattoo.
Oh yeah, this is gonna help. I feel stronger already. Almost just thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm glad that worked. If we're ever in a pinch again, it takes a lot out of me, but I think I could channel that spell again and kind of cure you from the exhaustion you put on yourself to become super powered.
Awesome.
And anything you can do, I definitely appreciate it. Get back up to 100% soon. Be awesome.
He's gone through a lot over the past day or so.
Drooling and exhausted, we're carrying him around. What do you want to do, buddy? You work
Pretty
really
much.
hard. I want a tattoo. You sure you're up to that? Just holding like boneless chicken to scare it, drag him around. Yeah, I want a tattoo. I can't feel anything.
We can
Yeah,
at some
just
time.
lay me in the chair. I can't get away.
You're still slightly light on your legs, Sun Kong.
Oh
But,
yeah, now my speed's only half.
but yeah, it takes you a little while. Your legs feel like cement, but you're still able to pull yourself around. As you guys are awaking after a long rest, and you guys didn't necessarily take damage during that whole fight, but just the whole affair was probably pretty draining, just in general. Glosse, you had already had some exhaustion that you wore away for your long rest. As you guys are peering in, checking on Sun Kong, since he sort of took the brunt of that exhaustion, one of the Elven guards approaches. Tycoons. Up top, we do a lot of work. Many tents topside. There is a shipyard attached to the side of the ship. I can help let you know where to eat if you would like.
Food sounds good.
And we serve
Somehow.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I believe your friends are here as well, the Starblazers. Repairs to their ships are still being done.
Oh, the Starblazers, yes.
Awesome.
Good bunch of folks, if a little too trusting of strangers.
I'm gonna grab some food for myself at Sun Kong, wherever he recommends.
Yeah, that sounds good. Same.
Okay. You guys begin moseying on up out from the large sort of cavernous area that leads inside of the quagga onto the sort of flat surface that is usually hidden from view as the quagga travels. You guys notice that the round, very uneven side that looks more like a comet or a piece of large rock or debris is usually what side they sort of face up as they travel to continue camouflaging the ship. On the flat side, as you guys head up, scaffolding, a set of stairs, you guys notice, similar to the image here, that there's just rows and rows of tents. You see all manner of elvish patroller in their gear that has sort of a bronzous look, adorned usually with some type of shade of green or brown as if to camouflage. Some even having a bit of twigs and stuff that adorn it as if to give it some type of camouflaged look. A number of Gif moving by, a couple other races, but it's largely Elven and Gif from what you guys see. You guys, given directions from the Elvish guard, are able to mosey your way on over to the area where you guys can grab some grub. Rows of tables where you see a number of patrollers kind of sitting with their trays, wooden trays, kind of digging into their own food. The Gif, as you guys see, happily eating larger portions than most of the elves. And you guys can kind of get what you'd like and grab some for Sun Kong. Sun Kong, are you heading back to continue getting your tattoo work?
Yeah, if I'm allowed to, I'll head back.
Okay. You head back that way and notice the number of elvish tattoo artists. The one that you saw before greets you and welcomes you over back to your chair to continue applying your tattoo work. Glosse and Vidi, are you guys doing anything in particular?
Once we are done eating, I think I wanted to go see if I could find Alec.
Okay. There is quite a large area here of people seated having food. You would need to make some type of check to be able to find the Starblazers if you're trying to hunt them down. Otherwise, you can eat and do your own thing.
Oh, I don't think we need to hunt. I personally don't want to hunt them down. I just wanted to eat with my crew, my
Yeah.
party.
Yeah.
So you guys all sit, kind of getting in line with some of the other patrollers. It's your standard fare. There's nothing particularly interesting. A lot of kind of meat and potato type of stuff. Hearty and fulfilling for a soldier. Not particularly delicious per se, but filling. And you guys get your breakfast in. There's a spot where you guys can mingle together, seated in between two rather Rotown Gif who are digging into their meals, and eat your fill.
Nice.
While we're eating, can I make some sort of check to see if I hear anybody talking about anything interesting or doing something that's kind of drawing attention?
Sure.
Would you take
Perception check would.
perception?
Yeah, that'd be the easiest. What was that D10 roll, Sungon? Oh, I see.
Yeah, 16.
With a 16, as you are sort of biting into your bread roll, NVD, you sort of pull back the sides of your hood a bit to let your ears pick up as much as they can. You, with your perception check that kind of encompasses a number of your natural senses, you do pick up the occasional staring eye your way from a elf or a Gif sitting nearby, and you do hear some hush whispers about your group and the Tycoons, and how they're pretty amazed that you guys took down a Tarask.
Well, we are pretty amazing.
Just smile and continue on doing what I'm doing.
It seems as though the same feelings that Alec had seems to be pretty spread out among even the well-trained soldiers here. They seem to, at least from your perception, have either a bit of disbelief or both disbelief and probably some found respect for you guys, even though, you guys are on somewhat of the same wavelength. You guys are not soldiers, but each of you are trained to have to do combat when necessary. And thus there's something that you guys can share even with soldiers who kind of follow commands and don't necessarily go travel. Well, this group travels the Twix, but more under the orders of a superior, as where you guys are kind of free to roam where you like. But there is a sense of respect that you kind of pick up from some of the hush whispers as they kind of talk and share the word of your group between one another.
I wonder if they only invited us onto the Quagga because we made such an incredible feat of strength. Perhaps they wouldn't have given us any mind otherwise.
Well, it doesn't really hurt to be respected.
Definitely
mean,
not. Definitely not.
I don't know how far it goes in fame. I don't watch any of the Holovitz or anybody else, but our team has been around quite a while, especially with you joining us as well. All the things we've done, I'm sure we've made a bit of a stir eventually.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people have taken down a Tarask or a giant, anything recently, but yeah. If we're going to be famous, it might as well get some benefits from it.
True. Fair enough. Speaking of which, when do you think we're going to hear back from Lushy?
I was just going to ask about that. These tattoos, we could be in those chairs right now if he happened to, send something to us. Maybe he's dead on the floor from excitement.
Why? Oh, okay. What?
You scared me there for a second, Rika.
If you say, hey, by the way, here's a season premiere, and you send him a video of us, destroying a Tarask, what else? Well, what does the man want? I'm not trying to speak again highly of us, but I can't think of many other things that, you could ask for.
You guys do have rec. You guys have not shared the footage with Lushy yet.
Oh, wait, what? I thought we did.
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. I guess we should do that then.
Yeah.
You guys know that the Nimbus is your geodesic ship is nearby, but you have not yet boarded to share that footage with Lushy.
Well, when we get back to our ship, that's the first thing we should do.
Mm-hmm.
Then he'll have a heart attack.
At least we'll be there to watch it.
So after you guys eat glacé, was there anything particular that you were gonna do?
Yeah, I wanted to go talk to
Alec? Okay.
yeah, about who I can talk to in the other factions.
Is anybody going with glacé to do this?
I'll go with if you need an extra ear.
Sure.
Yeah, I kind of would just like to listen.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know where Alec's office is and begin heading that way after finishing your meals. Rinkaz, are you doing anything in particular? Are you heading with them?
I'm just gonna grab an extra helping of food and bring it back to Sun Kong and hang out with him while he gets his tattoo.
Okay.
Kinda soak in what's going on, because I know I'm gonna have to get one done eventually.
Being surrounded by all these well-armed, you notice there's almost maybe a slight calming sense of security as you look around and see that a number of the GIF, some elvish patrollers, but largely the GIF, although some of them do have melee weapons, they largely have a fondness of ranged weapons like yourself. A lot of flintlock pistols and muskets and rifles that kind of remind you of your own weaponry. And you kind of step back in line, grab an extra plate, and begin heading towards Sun Kong and the tattoo parlor down within the quagga. The rest of you doing the same, but breaking off from Rinkaz to head toward Alec's office. As you head up to the office, you're greeted by the two elvish guards who were there previously, and they let you know that Alec is in the planning room, and they give you directions. Following these directions, you guys head. There's a number, like I was saying before. This was a while back, though, like 3 weeks back on our last session. That it's kind of color coded, these lines that run across the walls. So you guys are able. This is a very large, expansive Spelljammer, but you're able to make your way around relatively well, going on the directions that you're given, as well as just following these sort of colored lining that lets you know where to head to. You guys find the planning room, and similarly, two elvish guards are standing at the front. They both nod their heads, tycoons, and grab at the handles of the doors and open them for you. Within, you see a relatively kind of darkly lit room. A single sort of lantern over what looks like a large desk in the middle that you can kind of see. It looks as though some type of planning area. You can see a number of wooden carved figures that sort of make out what you're assuming are sort of like planetary alignments and systems. Places that you may have seen in the Twix before. Almost like a star chart. And can see the quagga next to one that looks like the Eos ruins. A number of elves, as well as a few GIF speaking to one another, overlooking the map. As you guys step into the room, you guys do take note of Alec, who turns to meet you. Tycoons, welcome.
Oh, hello again.
He turns and asks the others to excuse him for just a moment, and they nod their heads as he heads your way. What can I do for you all? Hopefully you slept well.
Quite.
Yes, thank you. I hope we're not interrupting anything important.
Always important, but I can make time for you. What can I do for you?
Well, we just had a few more questions about the whole Witchlight Marauder situation.
Of course.
Well, first question. We would like to know who we are allowed to speak with in the other factions about this situation.
This is an affair that a number of us throughout the consortium have been considering. Seeing the display yesterday from your group solidified things to me. We were planning to bring you in since the beginning. So if you were to speak to your representatives, there is the chance that they either knew you were being brought in or wouldn't be surprised to hear that you are.
Oh, well, that's reassuring, I suppose.
As I mentioned yesterday, it's important that you speak with each of them should you find the need to understand their perspective for what each of the consortium factions wishes to at least plan in the meantime do with the Marauders. But this is of course optional to you. Again, we would respect your input.
Of course.
And you said there's how many Marauders?
Just one now.
Okay. And what happened to the others?
Series 1 was... Well, the only way to really get rid of them was to have them try and eat a nearby star. They're not exactly smart creatures, but the rudimentary control systems that the Genius have put in place ensure that whatever they have them satiate their hunger with, that they mindlessly obey. So they tried to eat a star that was some amount larger than them, and were essentially vaporized.
Goodness.
We assured complete destruction. This leaves only one, the Alpha Marauder of Series 2 left.
And
Good.
they
Good.
only... Oh, go ahead.
No, it's very intimidating sounding.
And the only reason the Marauders did this was because they were told to?
Yes,
right?
it's part of the control functions that the Genius have built. The Marauders, it's... they are... we found evidence of some of them. Most of them had actually transpired. Faulty time-stop fields that had surrounded them. We'd heard rumors since the Inhuman Wars that some of them still persisted, held in these sort of locked fields of time, so as though to be able to be reawakened by the orc and goblin kind sometime in the future. The Genius did not find any live samples, but were able to, I guess you would say, engineer a new breed themselves, which was the version 1.
Wow.
The current Alpha Marauder is currently held within a massive time field. It is unmoving and is safe currently, so there should be no worry that it will break out.
Oh, I mean, couldn't it go try and eat a star as well?
It's a possibility, though, from the inklings that I've heard. I've not laid eyes on it myself. This particular one is rather large.
I mean, I understand why, but who, if you're at liberty to say, designated the creation of this monstrosity?
There was no particular designation, but the Genius, while making sure to alert the rest of the factions, continued research with the Marauder series, this time creating the Alpha. However, it was with its creation that it brought about some concern amongst the rest of the consortium, thus the reason that we see it necessary for us to meet and decide the future fate of this creature, as well as whatever other Marauders it can bring into existence.
So it can create more.
Yes, an Alpha Marauder is the progenitor of the other series. Not series per se, but other smaller Marauder.
So the other factions were okay with creating this, but
They...
within
We skeptically allowed it to happen. However, with its full completion, there is some concern among us as what exactly to do with it next. The genius prefer to do their things on their own time and aren't exactly keen on sharing all of their experiments with us. However, each of the consortium factions has an understanding with one another. We each have a hand in each other's affairs. We keep the bylanes of the Twix safe and explore new uninhabited worlds as the patrollers. The Serindals make sure and keep the members of each of the consortium faction, as well as the general populace of the Twix, in good health and standing. The billionaires ensure that the economy is booming and that we are able to find our surplus of weaponry, as well as the cash and monetary means for the genius to continue their research.
What would cause you to want to make this? I mean, I'm sure, in the name of science, anything's possible, but what threat is large enough out there that would cause you to want to make... I mean, I'm not trying to pry. If you say it's classified, that's fine, but...
No way, we need to know that. We need to know if there's other big nasties like that out there.
I mean,
It's
who
true.
says one day, you know what, I'm going to make something that's almost the size of a planet that could eat a planet. I mean, what?
Have you done a
What's
lot of
up there?
spacefaring yourselves?
I mean, for the most part, yeah.
And I mean no offense by this, but your ship, the geodesic ship, I don't believe it allows you to actively peer out into wild space as you travel. Is this your primary means of travel throughout your time in wild space?
Yes.
For the most part, yes.
I say this with no amount of judgment on your part, and I do not mean to offend. But when you are on a ship such as this that allows you the free ability to look out into wild space, yes, the Twixt wild space is different than the spheres and the material plane. You see, the Twixt is a plane of its own. However, the rifts that open up pull in large portions of wild space from other spheres. We have a conglomeration of wild space here on our own. You see, when you are out on the deck of your ship, able to look out, you will see that although they may not necessarily be hostile, there are plenty of gargantuan-sized creatures. There are planets and spheres that exist, worlds that are out there held aloft by giants themselves. These particular creatures are called star beasts, and they come in several shapes and sizes themselves. I'm not attempting to say that these could be commandeered for some purpose, whether by our own or the Dark Trine, simply that large things existing out in wild space is a certainty. Now, as to your question of why this would be created,
I mean, I guess that's enough, but yeah.
I personally do not believe it out of the realm of possibility to go in line with what you mentioned as you previously stated. I believe the genius probably created this creature simply because they can.
Wow.
That seems likely.
It is, admittedly, although we did not particularly suggest it ourselves as the patrollers, we did run some exercises, as I mentioned, with some of the previous Series 1, but only to run a few tests.
What did you do?
Alec looks over towards Rinkaz. You are aware of some of the things that we did. But I hope you understand that we only did it for the safety of those in the Twixt.
I mean, all of that aside, I understand why. I mean, if you had a building or structure full of the most, what is deemed dangerous criminals that you've captured, I mean, you would want a way to take care of them.
And we had received word that there was only a matter of time before the renegade member of our faction was going to release all of them at once. We chose to act for the safety of the people in the Twixt rather than stand by.
Renegade member of your faction.
Yes.
Do you know why he went renegade? Did anything point to, why he did it? Was he a good guy?
Which
You-
member are you speaking of?
Well, this particular member he was a proper squad leader. He conducted himself really well. Had a interesting way of carrying himself, a bit of a unmilitaristic sarcasm to him. However, the reason for his mutiny from the rest of us, I'm unsure. He went by the name of Cregan.
Oh, so he,
Ah,
this Cregan fellow was part of your faction.
Yes.
Gotcha.
he
So,
sounds nice.
We ran some other tests, just to make sure that I'm fully truthful with you. Besides the Omega Prison Ring, we found some other uninhabited worlds that we ran some tests on. There was one at the edges of the Twixt that we sent a sortie of the creatures to see how quickly they could terraform the world.
Oh.
oh, interesting.
Hmm.
So say
There
you
were a few
create
others.
This monstrosity. I mean, it seems to be a good weapon, but and it were to turn, because obviously it trying to attack a star and blowing itself up wasn't planned. Do you have a method of defense against this creature, or a kill switch of sorts? I mean, I've done a bit of recon and missions and bounty hunting myself. I wouldn't, unless it's a last-ditch effort as a single person. This is a galaxy. I wouldn't create something without a safety mechanism.
I agree. This is something that you may be able to gather more information from your genius representative with the Maesters. This is part of the reason that they are not fully ready to introduce this Series 2 out in the wild just yet. They want to further enhance it. Along with that, a means of more proper control and potentially a kill switch, yes. Though I do not have the exact specifics. You could speak with him on that matter.
It's a good idea.
Sounds like a good idea, indeed.
Though their means of control currently is rather rudimentary, we would, as part of the patrollers, prefer for their abilities. We see no need for their abilities to be enhanced in any further, and would simply use them in the most extreme of cases as the Alpha currently stands.
I mean, why not heat-resistant plating? I just kind of laugh and look around.
Very funny.
I do have my reservations in terms of what enhancements the genius may add to a Series 3.
Why not a system of, maybe a hive mind of a few greater minds to help control it further?
But what if... Wait, that sounds even more... Ringcast, that sounds dangerous
It's-
too!
Terrible idea. What is wrong with you?
Just kind of shrug. I mean, if you're gonna use a weapon, you might as well have control of it.
But it all depends on who is in control of it.
Yeah, a bunch of repressed scientists who have been put in a lab for all of their life.
Oh,
Nothing could go wrong at all, could it?
As it stands, the current method of control for the Marauders is a small device, a half-halo-like piece that fits around the top portion of one's head. As I mentioned before, the control is rather rudimentary. There are no specific instructions you can give to the creatures. They are not particularly intelligent. The only way to control them currently right now is simply to tell them what to eat.
oh.
I see a room of 30 scientists with computers playing Twitch Plays Pokemon with this thing. Go forward. No, forward. And you just pray that it does what you want it to do.
I mean, that's probably.
At the very least,
Well,
we can always confirm that it will eat what we want it to, and thus can be controlled even in its rudimentary phase.
This has been an interesting exploration of. I think I'm done here.
I slap Aesop on the back and say, "Now I understand why you eggheads get into this science. I have a greater appreciation
No,
for it.
Rikas.
Maybe I'll read a book one day."
I'm leaving the room.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Before you go, you had brought up the name of Twilight. I did a bit of digging among some of the patrollers and what we could find. From some of our surveys, we've heard that the Dark Trine, and he shows you guys a symbol of the Dark Trine's sort of banner. You may have seen pieces of it as you fought off the Vodani when you were originally meeting the Star Blazers on their ship, the Star Whale. He pulls up just sort of like a parchment that has drawn on it. It looks like a black skull, and in the center, at the edges, kind of encircling the skull, is a triangle, and at each of the ends of the triangle are 3 dots. He says, some of our surveys sent out have heard whispers among those that they have fought, that the Dark Trine are gathering slaves for the coming of Twilight. There's another small piece of information. It may be of use to, maybe not, but hopefully you can find some use in it. There was a Gif who mentioned that he ran into a few members who were headed back to a particular area. They did not mention where. However, they mentioned that they were part of some group known as the Centillium, and that they were trying to find more information regarding Twilight.
Oh.
It's good to know, and continuing to be worrisome. All this talk about slaves and Twilight.
What was that last part you said about the S thing?
Centillium.
Yeah,
Do you know something?
I hope so.
So this information proves somewhat fruitful to you.
Yeah, not in the way I was hoping, but yeah, thank you.
I feel as though I've heard this name before. I will continue looking into it, and if we break any ground on it, I will be sure to share it with you as we look into it ourselves. Was there anything else I could do to help you?
I don't have any more questions. Do you guys?
I think that should be fine.
Thank you for your help. Yes, please keep an ear out with your sources about the Twilight and Centillium, please.
Very well. Well, we will do what we can to make sure and keep our ears open for that particular thing. Well, if there's any other questions, please alert me. Otherwise, if you'll excuse me. We are sending a few expeditions down below. I believe I had one of my officers come and speak to Sun Kong about it. We're hoping that he could provide some helpful information in terms of the weapon he was able to power down there during your fight with the Tarrasque.
He's not going to power anything other than all-you-can-eat buffet for the next week, so you might be good.
He kind of chuckles a little bit at that. Very well. If he should find the time, he should meet with some of my members. The information he may be able to provide could be helpful. Anyways, it was good speaking with you all again.
As
Yeah.
we walk away, I kind of pat him on the shoulder and say, no hard feelings. I understand that it wasn't your single solitary choice in the matter of activating, moving, and designating the target.
I make difficult decisions as one of the higher representatives of the patrollers, Rinkaz.
And so did I as a
lose-
bounty hunter.
I lose men every day as we continue fighting this war with the Dark Trine. Hopefully, in this example, you understand why, despite my reservations about the Witchlight, that I would prefer to use them than to lose more of the people that I see every day passing through these halls.
I mean, at least I still have my friends. And I walk over and put an arm around Clatter and pat him on the chest. Right, Clatter?
Clatter turns his head your way and just looks back forward.
I whisper to Clatter, I'm so sorry if you're actually a person or something. Sorry.
Classe, you know this. He's not a person.
I don't say anything.
Alec kind of waves and bids you guys farewell and heads back over to the planning table to regroup with the others.
Yeah. Alright. Well, that was a good bit of information that we got.
Are we outside the office now?
Yeah, you guys had sort of met over away from the large planning table and kind of spoke just in the privacy of between you and Alec. And as he headed back over the table, if you guys want to step back out, you can.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know I just had this whole spiel about me being paranoid, but I feel like they're being far too accommodating and they're hiding something from us.
I
Yeah.
completely agree. Who do
What?
I shoot?
Whoa,
Whoa.
let's see what all the other factions have to say. Maybe something's different and we can piece together the things that sound fishy and make...
Alright, to level with you guys, I mean, I'm a little more open-minded and level-headed than Cregan. And Cregan seems like a nice guy, but obviously he doesn't get along well with everybody. Now,
He got along fine with me. I thought he was a great guy.
exactly. Now let's look at our party almost as a faction. Yes, we get along well together. We all come from different backgrounds, but there have been a few people who have joined temporarily and left, and people we've met that have been from different walks of life that we didn't see eye to eye with. Now, if I was a faction that loved the planets and the trees and everything, or loved science, I'm sure we could gain things from this, but would you like a big dumb brute with a giant gun that's the size of a planet walking around? No. I'm sure
No.
you the others are completely upset about this stuff.
Of course.
I mean, maybe they're being strong-armed. Oh, of course you're going to let us make this. It's already been made and it'll eat you if you don't say yes. Kind of thing.
All I know is that if what they say is true, the Serenials are the ones that actually want to destroy this thing. So I'm most curious about hearing what they have to say.
Well, we can call them.
Yes, I
They've
think we should.
been rather, even though they have a weird cultish mentality about their leadership and hierarchy, they've been pretty open-minded and straightforward with us since the beginning.
I mean, it's not like the first time we've dealt with Coles.
Oh yeah, I mean I start counting on my fingers the like 13 times that we've run into calls.
Well, did you want to call them now or wait until we...
Maybe somewhere a little bit safer. Maybe.
Yes, I'll let you make that decision. We could always call them when we call Lushy as well.
Let's do
When we
that.
get back on the ship. In fact, I think I'm just going to take it easy for the next day or so as Sun Kong finishes his tattoo. I'm about ready to head back to the ship, personally. This place is starting to feel a little... I don't know. Do you think there's cameras? Maybe they're watching us.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie that I'm pretty excited. Maybe we'll run into a couple old friends for our next destination.
Oh, okay. Alright.
Friends.
Yes, clearly the giant angry bird and lizard that we were forced to ride.
Rinkas, are you okay? What are you talking about?
He's talking about the mounts that were on Relica.
And in Brassbill. And maybe Yolana had she not strayed too far. Or anybody else who would be there. Tall Cat. It'd be nice to see a welcome sight as opposed to this place.
Well, I mean, I think this place has welcomed us pretty nicely.
A little
That's the
too
problem.
nice.
It's too nicely. It's too nicely.
I'm with the bird. I'm
It's
freaking out.
refreshing, darlings. When you're famous, this is how people treat you.
I
But-
don't know.
I do understand that this whole thing is a little weird too, but you know, enjoy it while you can.
I mean, what do you think, Nvidi? You're a good judge of character.
I do think they respect us, but I am always a little bit weary of that. I'm honestly a little bit lost connecting the dots between who would want to use such a thing that we're trying to hopefully get rid of, but also that what I'm looking for just keeps popping up on the wrong side of what we're trying to do.
Oh.
So, well, Stark Trine is connected to Twilight, and now they brought up the Centillion, which is something I haven't heard of in a long time. But it just doesn't. Something's not right, and I just have to take some time to think about it.
If you need anything, you've saved our ass quite a few times, and you're more than part of the crew. I mean, if you need anything, just let us know.
I think we could do with some treasure hunting at this point. We kind of need to clear our.
Yes, let's
Clear
our
our heads
get our minds off of this heavy stuff.
and stab our skin with sharp metal objects, filling it with ink. Speaking of which, let's go check on Sun Kong. He's gotta be sad in that torturous place.
It's not that bad.
Oh my god.
Sun Kong, you
Cat.
hear all of this over the earrings.
Yeah, I'm here. You guys can come down. See me at the tattoo shop.
All right.
You guys go and visit Sun Kong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fill him in.
He's getting finished up with his first round of the day. He'll have another session towards the evening, and then it'll be on to the second day of 3 for finishing up his tattoo.
Nice.
So you guys all
What's up,
meet
guys?
up in the tattoo parlor, walking in, seeing Sun Kong.
Yeah.
Actually, can I just head back to the ship now? Is the geodesic ship still following the Quagga?
Yeah. As you guys went up topside to eat your breakfast on sort of the flattened surface of the Quagga, you guys realize that from what you can see, it doesn't look like the Quagga has moved away from the Eos ruins. Looks
Oh, okay.
like, as Alec mentioned, they're sending a couple survey ships down to see what they can find down there. You guys remember from last session, I know it's been a little while, but you guys had told Kui to make her way over to the Quagga. So she's probably close by with the ship. And you don't see why you couldn't potentially, those of you who wanted to jump on the Nimbus and do your thing there waiting for Sun Kong to finish, it doesn't seem like there's
Yes.
any particular reason why you wouldn't be able to.
That sounds good. All right, here's the plan, everyone. We head back to the ship. We send the footage to Lushy. We grill the other consortium members about the Witchlight Marauders. And by the time Sun Kong finishes his tattoo, we can pick up the folks from the Helping Hand and head to Relica.
Good plan.
And I volunteer to get off this Quagga as soon as possible. I'll go right back to the ship.
So who all would like to go with Aesop back onto the Nimbus?
I'm gonna stay with Sun Kong until he's done.
Okay, fair enough.
Glossa, you should come to the Nimbus so you
Yeah.
can do the talking.
I'll go. Oh, and in VD, I would suggest coming along too, just in case there's something that you hear that rings the bell. Unless you want to stay here, that our earpieces are going to be on.
I'll come with you. I think Rinkaz can look after Sun Kong.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm sure they'll be fine. They're all adults.
I would like to try my trick out one more time before we go, though.
Mm-hmm.
If you're up for it, Sun Kong.
Oh, definitely, please.
Yeah, touch me more, Sun Kong says.
Yes, Daddy. Daddy and VD.
Oh, he's.
Oh my.
You have to roll for greater restoration?
No, it's from what I'm seeing here. It's an instant touch cast.
Nice.
You lay a hand on Sun Kong's shoulder once again, and Sun Kong, you feel the vibrancy of energy resurging through your body as the fatigue, you feel it almost well and build up in your chest, and again pull through up to the shoulder where NVIDIA is touching, almost sucking it out of you. A strange sensation, but the vitality and that youthful, brimming, monkish energy that you typically feel is slowly returning.
Oh my goodness, it's... Oh, you have no idea. Almost back up to full.
It's like the Shawshank Redemption. Remove the evil.
And with that, you guys want to depart and head over to the ship?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay. You call Kui. She answers, and heading out to the docks area, the geodesic ship sort of pulls up. There's a number of scaffolding and wooden platforms that make up the area of the docks that are sort of like, if you guys see in this image here at the kind of underneath where NVIDIA and them are, where a number of different Spelljammer are kept at bay at the docks here. There's an open area, and you guys see it's very difficult to make out because you guys know the magic of the glass steel panels of your ship reflects the surroundings, giving it a very though your ship may not have weapons, it certainly has a formidable ability in its abilities to just kind of remain largely undetected. But as it moves, you can see the refraction of light and of kind of space warping around it as it pulls up to the docks, and you guys kind of step up. And using the crystal communicator, you guys want to VoIP on over?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Okay. I will move you over now.
That's my favorite music. I miss that sound.
With a flash of light, you all find yourselves standing in the mission control room. A number of familiar faces look up with some amount of surprise to see you. Welcome back, Kui says.
Oh,
Ah.
darling.
It's truly starting to feel like home around here.
Hush comes up and gives you a hug, Aesop.
Oh, hey there. Been keeping you out of trouble, I take it.
You see her eagerly sort of nod her mask up and down.
Inoki, you are hereby relieved of your services. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure, everyone. I'm glad that I was able to serve you all as well as I could, of course. I'm going to go back to the gardens and continue picking mushrooms, because that's what I do best.
This fucking mushroom farmer I brought to a Tarrasque fight.
Yeah,
Poor guy.
you don't have to
Yes,
make a
dude.
roll. He was trying to keep himself contained, but the whole experience was a little overwhelming for poor little Inoki.
A little, I'm sure.
Yeah, come along, Inoki. We'll help identify flora and fauna on the planet. Oh, it's a Tarrasque and there's no plants.
You
It's
guys,
like bringing a lawyer to Jurassic Park.
you guys see Stray over in the corner tapping on one of the arcane screens.
Yeah.
So what's happening in this episode today?
Oh man, it's legit. Like where you gone, there was a bunch of things, and then the big one that came, and then what happened was the little ones came on top of the big one. The big one had to go, but the little one stayed, and then the little one came back, and the big one came back, and now they're all together again. You see it right there?
Man, that sounds dramatic. Amazing.
Glosse. That's not a program. That's just.
I
That's
know.
just
I'm
symbols.
entertaining the idea for him. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, and I took care of the plants. They're gone. So I might use some, but yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Stray, you know that during the period of time since they have been planted, the ghost Ganga bushes in the garden have fully matured.
Wait, do we grow weed in our garden? What is
You
happening?
guys have fully grown some ghost Ganga in
Oh
the
my
gardens,
God.
and it is ready for consumption or
That
best
selling
kush.
it.
That kush,
I
man.
Is it the glowing shit? The
Yeah.
teal glowing plants?
Yes,
The-
yes.
If you have some, make this show like Hunt Time Bass. But
The slime fucking that
Steals
dog.
Steals from the billionaire bastion, kills people, breaks a prison ring, gets arrested for growing weed on.
This place is a little darker. Did you do something different with it?
Oh, well, the astrolabe here, it's a little difficult to see all the details when that bright light is here, so I just turned them lower so we could see. Oh, what did you guys find down there? It's been a little while.
Have we filled her in on the Trask thing? I can't remember.
Don't believe you guys have.
Oh man.
Well, we're all alive.
That's good.
Yeah, and there was a Trask. Well, first there was like half a Trask, and then there was like a full one. and
What's
then-
that?
Oh, wait, don't you know? Like, oh, it's
Wow,
a.
rude, Glace.
You explain it.
It's a giant earth beast made for destroying civilization, and we killed it.
Oh my gosh. How?
It's a long story involving a very convoluted contraption with a crossbow, and also Sun Kong was a giant bug monster. I was almost convinced that I dreamed the whole thing.
We got it
What
all on wreck.
It really happened, yes, and we should be having quite the payday coming to us if the billionaires like our footage, which of course they will. I mean, come on.
They'll eat this up.
That sounds pretty nice. Well, welcome back.
Thank you, Kui. It's a pleasure to be back.
Did anything happen while we were gone?
Stray told us that those strange bushes in the garden are fully completed.
yeah, you missed like a whole episode of the show, so that one
I
happened.
don't care about.
It's okay, she'll catch a rerun later.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, I saved it all. Yeah.
Oh,
He keeps talking about stuff on his monitor. There's nothing on his monitor. Chunk rolls over to you to say,
Oh, no,
zooms
I hate
off.
it. Well, I suppose we could get down to business, Glace. Should we talk to Lushy first, or reach out to the Serenitals? I
well,
can't say Serenitals. Serenitals.
They're all meant to be stupid, difficult to say names.
well, yeah, we can kill two birds with one stone and call Lushy.
Yes, let's get paid.
Mhm.
You guys want to call Lushy?
Yeah.
Yes.
You call Lushy. You watch as his form appears in a hologrammed illusion on the astrolabe screen, where once the very basic arcane illusory image of the Eos ruins was displayed. Now is Lushy's face. Oh, hello everyone. It's been some time. We're nearing the first end of that 10 day. I hope you have some footage for me.
Oh. So, is it a bad
You can
thing?
say that.
Is it a bad thing if the premiere episode of the season couldn't possibly get better than it already is?
Really?
Yes, really.
No, I don't want to know. You'll have to
Okay.
send me the footage.
And I plug in rec and hit send. making sure not to send him the Witchlight Marauder footage. Just the
Here's
Eos Ruins
here's a
stuff.
little something to remind you guys. You're able to turn on and off rec whenever you'd like, but you cannot edit the footage.
No! So we have to send him the whole thing?
Whatever has been recorded, Leshy will see.
Oh.
Wait, that's okay. Well, that is it's going to be a conversation piece anyway.
Yes, a good segue. It's a good segue. Yes. So there's a little bit in there that I think Glace wanted to talk to you about.
Oh, don't ruin the surprise.
Well,
Well, it's important that it's not shown on, on the knowledge crystals or whatever.
it's not for the public, Lushy.
Oh,
Yes.
what could be so dire that you wouldn't want to show it and share it with the world?
Well, and it's something we need to talk to you about. It's the Witchlight Marauder.
Oh, yes. Those. Yes, I will review the footage, but I think for now, as you mentioned, it's probably best for the general public not to see the face of those creatures. At least until... Well, I was hoping to speak to you on that front.
That's bullshit. He wasn't gonna tell us shit unless we
yeah.
mentioned it first.
I mean, does he seem? Can we do some insight check on that?
Sure.
I'm not gonna make an insight check.
I'll-
I choose to believe what I said.
I'll assist on the insight.
You'll assist. Oh, you don't want to do one yourself?
Okay, I'll do one myself.
Okay.
I like-
got a 12.
Out of character.
Quit metagaming.
Well, I mean, I was gonna mention every time he assists me, I have nothing in insight, so that's why I would also suggest that.
There we go.
Well, luckily I'm a power gaming nerd and I have all of the speech everythings, so
What was your roll, Glace?
12.
Okay.
I got the opposite. I got 21.
The inverse?
Yes.
Um,
The back.
for both of you guys, is there anything particularly that you're trying to pick up?
If he seems like genuine, like yeah, I was gonna talk to you about that, or just does he seem like caught off guard?
Yeah, startled or off guard that we mentioned something that he didn't think we had an idea about.
You Glosse get the sense that he is caught off guard, and Vidi, you get that same sense, but see it more as him kind of straightening himself up from his usual lackadaisical self at hearing that you guys actually recorded footage of the Marauders.
By the by, what are your thoughts on this whole Marauder situation?
Yes, that was something that I had hoped to share with you all. The consortium has been talking. We had planned to bring you in on some of our discussions. Your footage in the first season of The Weird and Wild has made its way across the Twix, and you have garnered some attention with the consortium. We've always kept our eyes on your little tycoon group, but we believe that you may be helpful in this instance. Let's just say for now, I of course have to review the footage myself, but I believe we may just snip that little piece out.
Yes, don't want to cause a panic or anything.
Yes, of course. Public perception is everything, and we wouldn't want to throw our stock market into a abysmal downturn at the sight of some horrific creature. Unless, of
Sounds
course,
like
you
it's-
kill it.
Is that what? I mean, is that what you want to happen to it?
Oh, no, not saying that. I just speaking of entertainment purposes. But, getting on that front, we and each of our consortium factions have a decision to make. As it stands, there is only one Marauder. A new version, or so I've heard.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Yes. Currently, it's safely held by the genius, but something that large and impactful on the Twix, they shared it with us, the rest of the consortium, and we believe it important to come to a decision before they go and do whatever their little genius minds decide to do with something that large.
I could not agree more.
Personally, as part of the Billionaire Bastion, I believe that well, you see, the others, they either want to make it stronger and more likely to kill everything, or to already use what's there to kill everything, and I'm not exactly too keen on such things. I'm sure it makes for great television, but I like a little bit more control over such things. I believe that a creature like that could be put to good use, however, for non-violent measures. You see, there are plenty of planetoids and areas out in the Twix that are ripe for transformation into new housing, new areas where we could put new butts in seats, new shops and places where we could build new towns and settlements, bringing the people here to the Twixt, bringing the market and expanding it across. I believe we could use the creature as a terraforming method, if you will. Of course, the worlds that it would be terraforming would have no sentient creatures there. It would be strictly for largely dead worlds, or creatures that have worlds that have nasty creatures on there to begin with. But no actual living, breathing, thinking people.
Well, I suppose it's a better use than using it for violence.
We would only be using them at a moderate rate. I believe the potential benefits you could see are better prices, more rare items that could be available at various Twix shops throughout, and the possibility of an influx of new potential Wildknots hoping to follow in the footsteps of, well, the tycoons themselves. This would invariably upset the masterminds. They see the use of the Marauders as a tool for terraforming as a complete waste of their potential, but well, I'd rather not see what they want to use with it. If it were their choice, they'd probably keep it in a lab forever and never see any of its potential use.
Until it becomes too strong for them to contain, which will invariably happen given the masterminds. I should know. I used to work for them.
Oh, then you have first-hand experience. We like to let them play with their toys, but only so much.
I agree.
The Serenitals wouldn't exactly be happy with us either, just to mention. The encroachment of our development would upset what they believe to be the balance of nature out in the Twigs. But they're hippies, by and large, so they'd say that if we cut down one tree.
Fucking Lushy, what a guy. Well, this has been a very enlightening perspective, wouldn't you say, Glace?
Yes. Lushy, what would you do if something just in a situation where, say you had control over these things and we're doing terraforming, but then something went wrong and they stopped listening to you, and well, what are you prepared for something like that?
From what I've heard, the creatures are able to be controlled currently. There's a device, you see. One that one of our faction members would use to control them. Something about telling them what to eat? Are you asking if this item fell into the wrong hands?
Yes.
Well, honey, there are plenty of dangers out there in the universe. This is just one more to it. We believe that our choice is the most sensible one. We're not outright killing the things. There's plenty of opportunity now that it's been created. We just don't see a need for it to be out there causing violence, whether it be for the patrollers or someone else.
We can't kill civilized people, only uncivilized, prisoned people slowly as they're devoured into the void of this.
All right. Rinkaz. Oh, Rinkaz isn't even here.
You hear over your earring.
Over that.
I believe our way to be the best option. We're not outright killing the creature and destroying whatever potential has been created by them, but at the same time we're making sure only to use them to create more space for the people of the Twixt. We're helping in our own way, and unfortunately the Serenitals don't understand that. They don't understand capitalism, if you could catch my drift.
These fucking hippies.
Aesop.
Well, no, that was Luke. That wasn't.
Think of it as a enterprising opportunity for the tycoons. You have your show, which, from what I've heard, is going to be a spectacular premiere. It will take me a few days to review it, but I believe this will be amazing, as you said. But on top of that, choosing to use the Marauders as a way to expand more opportunity for people to come to the Twixt, as well as business to flourish, well, to hear that was a decision largely made by enterprising Wildknots themselves, your names would spread across the Twixt like wildfire, I'm sure.
Lushy, I don't think it's any small exaggeration to say that this footage is legendary, and we're going to have a hard time topping it.
Yes.
Well then, I suppose if you make the decision to give the Marauders to us, and it gets out of hand, the premiere for Season 3 will just be you having to kill it,
Oh,
Don't do that, Lushy.
Oh, you're so funny,
A
darling.
joke, he says,
I just
swishing
read in the
wine
earpiece.
around.
I mean, man, instead of destroying the Trask, we could just destroy all the interdimensional gateways to every planet. You know, what could be worse than that?
This is getting very real, and I don't like talking about it anymore.
I'm so happy Rayclass isn't actually
Just
here.
think about it for a second. Give some time. The consortium plans to meet. You should speak to the others, of course, and get their opinion. Just keep in mind, we are the best decision with the Billionaire. We wouldn't exactly outright be destroying the creature. What a bunch of time wasted from the genius. We could put one of their toys to good use. A non-violent use. Something to consider.
Of course.
Either way, I'm extremely excited to review the footage you've sent me. Was there anything else that you wish to speak about?
Nope.
I think that's everything.
Very
Ask a
well, then.
Question.
Of course, darling.
Lushy, I'm a little bit new to all the recordings and whatnot, but what exactly would you like to see us record? What are you hoping for?
I'm hoping you show me something extravagant, something with drama, action, intrigue, perhaps a bit of sadness, of course, but then to uplift the spirits of the people of the Twixt. They want to see you, Wildknots adventurers, fighting the good fight. They want to see good people doing good things out there. That's why I picked you to be the first ones to test this whole wreck thing, this recording adventure. Don't catch anyone else hearing this, but I believe your group, by and large, tends to be on the right side of things. It's part of the reason when asked for my personal input, I suggested that we do bring you in for this decision with the Marauders. There were a few others as well who agreed. But yes, these adventures you're having, the extraordinary, intense, emotionally draining, cathartic adventures you're going through is exactly what I want.
Of course.
Just make sure to come out alive, of course.
We'll try our best.
I'll do what I can.
Yes, your absence during that 6-month period, we ran a couple spin-offs in between Season 1 and 2 with a few other adventures. Let's just say the test audiences didn't respond exactly well to everyone biting the bullet, as they say.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yes. Being a wild knot is well, it's
Dangerous. Yes, but lucrative, Aesop. Very lucrative.
Well, here's hoping.
I've heard your name in quite a few places already. Keep it up, tycoons.
Yes.
We will.
If there's nothing else, I'll be on my way. Oh, I cannot wait to review this footage. Did you meet a new friend? No, don't tell me. I'll watch it myself. Alright,
He has
ta-ta!
no idea. This is great.
Sitting
He's
in the
gonna-
dark room watching this alone.
Oh, to be a fly on that wall.
Oh no, I don't want to. He's gonna need like 3 changes of pants.
Lushy reacts. Hollow vids would probably go.
Lushy
over really
reacts.
That's so.
Holy shit! That'd be perfect.
As Lushy bids you guys farewell, tipping a glass of wine in hand, you can sort of make out the blurred scenery of the Halcyon Tower that he's in the background. His image slowly vanishes and is replaced by the nearby Eos ruins that comes back in its illusory state on the astrolabe.
Well, who next?
I suppose the Serenitals. This was pretty much as. This was as the patrollers said, so
Yes.
at least we know that they weren't lying to us about what the Billionaire Bastion wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I still am 100% behind destroying this thing, which is why I'm interested to hear the Serenitals. I would certainly hope that they don't have an ulterior motive for wanting it destroyed.
Yes.
That's what I'm concerned about.
It'd be a shame if we accidentally mind controlled one of the Halo users and said that it would be a good idea if that the Witchlight Marauder maybe decide that a sun looked like dinner.
What?
Cough.
You broke out at the end, I think.
You know, one of the Halo users. I mean, what if we mind controlled one or charmed or used suggestion and said, hey, that sun looks delicious. Maybe the Witchlight Marauder should go devour.
You are illustrating the exact reason why we need to destroy these.
Yeah, it'd be a great...
Anyone could do that. Anyone could manipulate or otherwise control a
Well-
Halo user.
We don't know that though. We haven't heard what, their side is or whatever.
But you and Enviti are not the only ones in the Twixt with manipulative magics that can get what they want.
Very
as it
true.
were.
I have a gun with a crystal in it
Suggestive
from a
magic.
vending machine. I could tell someone to do this.
Not, also true.
Valid.
Fucking vending machine jewel would let Rinkaz completely destroy the whole setup.
That's admittedly a very expensive item and could probably only be materialized in this ship, Kui says.
All right, Kui. But the point is,
Point taken still.
People aren't smart.
anyway. Yeah, I'm curious to hear from the Serenitals. But other than that, yes, 110%. This thing needs to be destroyed.
You feel a tugging at your garments, Glase.
Oh.
Ew.
Hello, dear.
Hey, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
They're talking about the show, man. The show on TV we've been watching, right?
Okay, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to her. God, he's so annoying. What is this
Yeah.
going on?
It's we.
Are you guys getting famous without me?
Honey, you're part of the group. You're gonna get famous.
I saw
We're
him
ju-
looking at everyone in this room except me.
Honey, listen. Currently,
He's a
we're just the face
hologram.
of the group. But you are going to be, darling. You are going to be so famous.
Tell
bring you
Lucy to
around
walk
next
out the
time.
airlock. There's an airlock she can walk out of.
Okay, as long as I'm famous. I don't care anymore.
Okay.
She'll be all over the galaxy in 30 seconds, I promise.
She is just the worst.
We'll take you out and record with Rex sometime.
I'll take her out right now. Call
Because
me
you
to
are-
the ship.
As long as I'm not hungry, of course.
I mean,
Or maybe that'd be good TV.
is
Belly
that what
full
you
of
want?
lead.
We're not making snuff films.
Anyway, Kui, can you please get these Cyranols?
Of course, Kui says.
Let's cut to the chase immediately with her. No need to be coy. Maybe we can catch her off guard with our directness.
The image of the planet system disappears and is replaced by a small
Oh yeah.
little
the
baby
fuck?
furbolg.
Oh yeah.
Is this the leader of the Cyranols Colossi?
Hello! Oh, it's been some time since I've seen your particular group. How's everybody doing?
Hello, Twee.
I see some new faces here.
Yeah, like half the group.
Well, nice to meet you guys. I'm Twee. I'm sure they've explained. I'm your representative to the Serenitals.
Twee, do you know anything about the Witchlight Marauders?
Whoa, pretty heavy with witch lights.
Holy shit, this is great. Was I not here the episode this character was introduced?
I don't think you
Because-
guys have talked to him this entire season, so...
No,
I've never met this guy.
We went through the whole Ilana Lu. He talked to us once and told us what happened to Ilana Lu, and now that he's the leader, and we're like, okay, bye.
Didn't she get like arrested for or taken out of her position because of, bad doings? Wasn't that what?
She was outcast and sent out to the Celestial Cradle away from Daedra because she let Sun Kong cut through the large line of people looking to be cured of their
Oh,
ailments,
yeah.
and it turned out that Sun Kong never had an ailment.
Fucking
Get up. Oh god.
Oh, that sucks.
They put Squirrel Boy in charge.
Yeah. This little baby
my
thing.
Anyway, we were asking about the
Yes.
Marauders.
Not to turn the question around, but what exactly do you guys know about the Witchlight Marauders?
Honey, we know. We know what the consortium wanted to bring us in on. Is
Oh,
who's
so they've
going
already
to
talked to
use
you, some of them.
it. Yes.
And what are you guys thinking?
Well, we're just getting everyone's thoughts before we decide anything first.
Yes,
Ah.
we haven't quite reached a consensus yet.
Well, I can certainly give you the viewpoints of those I represent here at the Serenitals. You see, the sacred Serenitals, myself included, we believe in the preservation of all life. It's a certain balance that we believe in, an equilibrium that keeps things going. Like any druidic foundation or something similar. Maybe some of you have met particular individuals, or maybe even be familiar with the mindset. A creature grows, it eats others, it dies itself, returns to the earth. We believe that of most things out there. The Witchlight Marauders are first not a natural being. They were created by what we believe to be probably terrible magics, or some type of dark ritual from the orcs and goblinoids of days and past. They're nasty creatures, only meant to consume and kill by consuming. Where we do believe that everything in life has its place, we particularly believe as Serenitals that the Witchlight Marauders are the antithesis of life. There is no balance with them. They would just destroy everything in their path.
And do you believe the other factions want control over it for any particular reasons?
Well, I mean, we are large factions. The four of us, serving as a consortium, we are the largest organizations of the Twigs. We try to keep our hands in the development of whatever happens throughout it. So, of course, it's perfectly understandable and respectable that each of the other factions would have their own idea in terms of what to do with this, from what I've heard, a single witchlight that now remains. However, I believe it to be best that we destroy the creature.
No argument here.
I don't trust that this thing would be always kept in the right hands. Plus, even if another faction got hold of it, and let's even say that they used it to whatever full extent that they planned to, I think that the people across the Twigs would be pretty worried about such a dangerous creature, no matter whose hands it was in.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna lean into Nvidi and Aesop. Do you think he would know anything about the Dark Trine or Twilight? Do you think we should ask?
Do you know anything about the Dark Trine?
I was
Oh!
gonna ask, but I haven't met this character, so I don't even know if I know.
Dark Trine is collection of three races that are a menace across the Twixt. Of course I've heard of them. They've been causing quite a lot of trouble. I heard the patrollers are doing their best to combat them.
Oh.
As for Twilight...
We ran into some interesting things on a planet with the harvests.
Something about... He grabs out of you and pulls over a bowl of water and dips his fingers in it
What is happening?
and holds his hand in the air. A bird to be freed from its cage.
What? What is he saying? What is happening?
No, I think he's doing some weird hippie shit. Hold on.
Fucking hippies.
I don't say that in character.
Locked away to be found. That's what I think.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you what?
What?
What do you? Oh, what does that mean?
What did I say?
You said caged bird. Oh no, I forgot what he said already.
Just don't repeat it. Please don't.
Yeah, sorry. Sometimes when I do that, I kind of have to zone out a little bit. Get a little zen. Hopefully that information helps, whatever I said.
It's nonsense. It sounds like nonsense.
That's unfortunate. Oh, look, not all premonitions can be perfectly on spot.
I suppose.
Premonition? Were you divining something?
Clairvoyance, if you will. I have some training in it, yes.
Interesting.
Okay.
Well, I believe our decision to destroy them is the best. However, there is the only nagging thing. From what I've heard, the Marauder that exists is a pretty sizable big boy. I don't think it could be destroyed that easily, but we're currently looking at methods for being able to take him out.
Oh, honey, you just tell it to eat a star, right?
I don't think that works with this one.
Oh.
That's at least what the genius said. But of course, you know, if we ask on a way to destroy them, they're not exactly privy to share that information either. But us as the Serenos are looking into it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Good to know.
Of course, choosing to destroy them is going to upset the Bastion. They see it as a missed opportunity for their expansion plans and destroying the beautiful life of smaller worlds that they just deemed to decide to just completely mull over. And of course, the patrollers, they wouldn't exactly be happy. They would like to use the Marauder as a way to end the Dark Trine. Although I find it very interesting that, well, the Witchlight were created as a way to combat the Elvish Armada in times past. Interesting that the Elves, even if they are an offshoot being part of the patrollers, would want to use weapons originally intended for their destruction. But, who's to say?
Indeed.
Do we know the Dark Trine? What was the three things that you were saying about it? What three things?
Oh,
3 races?
Yeah.
3 races. There's the Vodani, which is a group of mostly humanoid people, although they have a certain affinity to the lycanthropy. And then, of course, there is the Skro, like orcs, but smarter and more militaristic. Pretty intelligent, nasty because of it. And of course there's the Neogi, which pretty much makes the others pale in comparison. Think of like a moray eel mixed with a furry spider.
Gross. Okay.
Prefer not to, but good to know.
Yes, they've definitely made their bouts and ways throughout the Twix. There's been a number of people across a lot of planets that have been enslaved by them.
All right.
Part of the reason that, although I certainly disagree with some of the other factions' methods in dealing with the Marauders, we still respect and work together. We're in this together.
Right.
But of course.
Well,
I
didn't
just
have
think
any-
it'd be one less thing to deal with, having a large planet-eating monster.
Surely.
Also true.
Well, did you guys have any other questions?
That's all for me.
And Vidi?
No, I'm still a little lost with that premonition there.
Uh-huh.
Okay, well, if no other questions, I'm going to take my midday meditation.
Okay, honey. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Of course. I'll talk to you guys soon, I hope. Maybe this time not half a year in between?
Yes. Yeah, we promise.
Okay, that sounded weird, but I understand. Talk to you soonish.
Yeah.
And he disappears.
Well, that was supremely unhelpful.
Okay, and Vidi, what's going on?
I got a really, really strange feeling that wasn't being clairvoyant when he went into that train.
What do you mean?
Like, not entirely sure that he was in control of himself there. I think it's a he. I don't even know what that thing was.
Mm. So, what do you think happened?
I think that Twilight might be some sort of trigger word for something very, very bad at this point.
I'm worried about the implication with lycanthropy. Twilight, of course, seeming to line up with the phases of the moon, which would trigger a normal form of lycanthropy, but if my theory is correct and the Trine is seeking and using my research, that has very little to do with lunar phases. It's very strange. It could be a... Oh, sorry, there's like a blender going on in my house now.
That's just my brain.
It is.
Stray's making a smoothie in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all want some of this? It's got that ghost in it.
Anyway, Aesop says he thinks it has something to do with the lycanthropy and the Dark Trine, and they're doing stuff with blood and stuff. I'm gonna go on mute.
What if they were to? I mean, they can control giant monsters, change lunar phases at will, force lycanthropy to take over, and force people to change without. I mean, I'm talking conspiracy theories here, but
I mean, perhaps if they figured a way to... I just don't see it. How would you administer a serum? I
booze,
guess...
water, liquid, air, food, injections for immunities, money, distribution powder.
Perhaps we're getting ahead of ourselves, though. It's possible that, assuming they did have something to do with the acquisition of mild research, it's possible it was just a curiosity for them, and they have a different means of distribution of whatever it is that they're doing to their slaves. I mean, you all saw Ruff. She was definitely a werewolf. Not two ways about it.
Well, this is scary.
It is quite scary. Scourge will have to be of the utmost importance after we finish up on Relica.
What's Scourge?
Who said
You,
that?
Liz.
It's me, Lizzie.
Oh, okay. It's a planetoid. Is it a planetoid or a moon? I guess that's in character. Is that a planetoid or a moon that orbits Slagonia?
Oh. Slagonia sounds nasty.
It is, from what I've heard, quite nasty.
Wait, Lizzie, you're kind, your wonderful people turn
My
into
beautiful race,
your
yes.
beautiful race.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I mean, does any of this sound like it would be along? I don't know. Does it sound weird to you, or does your beautiful race, is that just a natural thing that has always happened?
This is part of my natural nature to be as beautiful as I am. But
Oh,
if you're
I see.
asking if any of what I've heard is weird, I'm also sitting on an arcane couch surrounded by some weird hologram girl, a pink little cloud, 2 birds, and a man over there who has a dragon and a walking suit of armor. It's all pretty weird.
Thank you, Lizzie. You've been supremely unhelpful as usual.
Welcome.
Anyway, what were we saying?
I was just saying that we still don't know what the Twilight is, but we've certainly ascertained that it's bad news. If I were to wager a guess, it has something to do with lycanthropy, but we have no evidence of that thus far, other than the tenuous connection with me and also the experimentation that Ruff was talking about.
Well, there's only one more person we have to call.
Oh, I will pass on this if it's all right with you.
Oh.
I'll let you handle it. Prefer not to talk to them.
Please. Okay. Well, Aesop, maybe just stick around a little. Oh, listen. Keep your ears tuned in. Then.
You have the communicator. I'll be able to hear.
Okay. All right. NVD, are you ready for this?
Sure.
All right. Let's patch that old man through.
Who am I calling?
The Masterminds.
Oh, yes, your representative. Hang on just a moment. The astrolabe shifts again, this time bringing a familiar face. Your representative to the Masterminds X-22 appears. Hello?
Hi.
Hello, who is this?
Hello, this is Glacé and NVD, the Wild Knots.
Who's that?
You.
We
Wait.
met a while back.
You look familiar. Oh, yes. We met before.
Yes, we have. Okay, X-22.
Yes.
We need to talk about Witchlight Marauders.
Oh, the Witchlight. Interesting creature, huh? What would you like to know about them? They have quite the sordid history.
Okay, how old is this Witchlight Marauder that's currently about?
Oh, what Witchlight Marauder?
I kind of sweat and I looked at NVD. I'm sorry. What's your knowledge on the Witchlight Marauder? I must have been told something completely different.
Oh, they've existed for what some believe to be hundreds of years. Are nasty creatures originally created by the orc and goblin kind.
Okay, and you don't know of any living Witchlight at all?
Well, yes, we do currently have one Witchlight that is not exactly technically Witchlight, since we sort of engineered it ourselves. I guess you could call it that.
Well, do you guys have another name for it?
We prefer the title